Start her up.
Hey guys, George here, back at it again with another train stream. Today, well, we're going back to back, but today we're going to do a layout visit.
Yeah, it's gonna be really cool. I
Yeah.
can't wait.
Yeah.
Can't wait. You were working hard on some scout stuff, so I had a chance to take a pre-layout tour and visit before.
Really?
Yeah, while you were there.
Oh,
Wait till you see it. It's really cool. He was in the 1,000 subscribers special. Thomas
Yeah,
Eiden.
I remember. Yeah. He's got a really cool layout. That T261's really cool.
Oh man, he's got some other neat stuff. Wait till you see it.
Really?
Yep, he's got a Vision Line Hudson. Oh, let me tell you,
Really?
George, that's good stuff.
Is it the weather one you had in the video?
Yeah. So we're going to be over at his house at the 4 o'clock hour. Welcome everybody for coming in today. Well, this morning was a lot of fun, wasn't it, George?
Oh yeah, that was really fun. Premiere. That was cool.
Yeah, well, we've done premieres before, but that was the first time where it seemed like there was like schmaltz
Yeah,
and we had a lot of people
yeah.
watching. Thanks everybody for tuning in and checking out the premiere.
Yeah, it was really fun. Sorry, I don't know why. I just
Got a lot of hiccups.
Yeah. But yeah, it's really fun. It's a long premiere. It kind of felt like a live stream.
It did. Where people were chatting back and forth and everything like that.
Yeah, I watched it from the very comfort of my bed.
I was downstairs typing on the computer. I'm like, George, you gotta get down here. It's like, I got this. I'm in my bed.
Yeah, you know. So, yeah.
It was really neat. 33 layouts. Can you believe that, George? 33 layouts. And for those of you that are just kind of new to the stream, we first started this and we had the idea that we wanted to make a real special 1,000 subscriber special. And we had you just hit 1,000 subscribers. You were right below the 1,000 subscribers when this all came about. Is that right?
Yeah, it was before we hit 1,000 subscribers. I think like a week or two in from doing the streams.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we were at like 900, just like floating around there for the longest time.
Right. So anyway, we had the stay-at-home order put in place. And we had a special layout. We've been saving my dad's layout, his grandpa's layout for our 1,000 subscriber special. We thought, you know what, we one of our favorite layouts, but we wanted a special occasion for that.
Yes.
And when we had to stay at home, we weren't able to do that. In fact, we weren't able to get any layouts, huh, George?
Oh, but the streams did really kind of help that out.
Right. And so then we had the idea in the streams that we were going to reach out and ask the people who were watching and subscribers to
have their layouts in the streams, and it's worked out pretty good. We've got a pretty good amount of layouts on the streams, a lot of really cool ones.
Absolutely. And then we had 33 layouts that were submitted for the 1,000 subscriber special. We smashed them all together.
Yes.
I did a little bit of video editing, and voila, 45 minutes, 33 layouts. So I hope everybody liked it. I know that it was it was a lot of fun to put together. Had some trials and tribulations with that, just everybody had such neat stuff in their videos, trying to get it so that I could encapsulate the spirit of what you've got going on and the spirit of your layout in the time that I could put it in. So it was pretty neat. And you want me to tell you the best part, George?
What?
The best part is that's just what I've edited. The source material for all of that stuff in the 1,000 subscriber special.
Hashtag, right?
It's out there, right? It's in the hashtag, George.
Yeah, and if you want, you can still submit videos to it. We'll go in the special. It will be there for everybody to see.
Correct. And then the other thing, George, that's really neat, is that we've had the opportunity to meet a lot of these same people that submitted their layouts.
Right, yeah.
And it's kind of neat to kind of put layouts with names and see everything like that.
Yeah. So there's a lot of really cool layouts, that's for sure. Definitely a lot of like, I don't know, just kind of gave you a thought of like, you didn't really think that there was that many people that like trains. They were like old
Or different perspective and everything like
Yeah.
that. Yeah, for sure. So good stuff. And hey, the other thing that we got going on, which is kind of neat, beyond that, is like I said, we're going over to Thomas Eiden. We've been saying his real name wrong all along.
Really?
It's not Eiden, it's Thomas Eiden. Yeah.
Oh,
So he's got a real neat full gauge layout.
I know. It's just like Stefan.
Yeah, right. He's got a really, really neat. Actually, he's got an O gauge layout. Not only that, George, he's got a couple of G gauge layouts too.
Oh yeah, I saw the videos he submitted on that. Right.
Right. He's got a G gauge layout that's underneath his O gauge layout.
Wow.
Double main line on that one. He's also got a G gauge layout out on his porch too, George. When do you see that?
Yeah, that's cool, man. That's
Yeah, it's going to be neat stuff, neat trains, and then the modeling on his layout's fantastic as well.
Just from the video, the short clip that was in the 1,000 subscribers special. Yeah, I mean it's pretty impressive, you know. Lots going on. You know what I mean?
Right, and he was saying that with some artistic license, it's modeled after a stretch of the Milwaukee Road line in Chicago that goes north out of Chicago.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So
then that would go by your house.
it was a different Milwaukee Road line than the one that went by my house.
Oh, north, right. So it'd be like up in, yeah. Okay.
Right. So that'd be really good. Really good. Well, hey everyone, thanks for coming and being part of this today. And if you get a chance and want to, down below in the description is Thomas Eiden's YouTube channel. Make sure you go to his channel and check out all of his stuff. He's got some neat stuff. And subscribe to that when we get to that point, because I'm sure he would appreciate those subscribers. Tomorrow we got some neat stuff going on too, don't we, George?
Yeah, we have Iron Fox 7 on the stream tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's gonna be really fun. He's I think he's a couple years younger than me, but he's got a really cool layout. Sadly, it's gonna be taken down.
Yeah, here he's moving,
Monday, yeah, he's moving.
So this is kind of the swan song for his layout.
Yeah, so make sure to go check out both those channels. I think tomorrow we'll have a link in the description for Iron Fox. But if you search up Iron Fox 7, it should search or pull up, and it's got a really neat collection.
Fantastic,
yeah.
neat man. I tell you what, neat young
young
man.
man, yeah. There's also a scout too, so
Right.
it's from the area, you know. Yeah.
Right.
It's definitely somebody you would want to meet up with in the future, you know.
Cool. Well, yeah. As we're getting the stream going, we had kind of some computer problems on my usual computer that we broadcast over here. So I'm having to operate off my phone here. Let's check some people in, George. Charlie's Model Trains is first in the door.
Hold on.
Got a whistle? There we go. The Hannah Line says hello in advance. Hopefully you came back. James Trains is in the house. James's Trains. Let's see. Who else we got here? Ours Trains is here. Some thumbs up. We got Tim's Trains. TDF Lines is in the house. We got Keegan Headley's here. Says, how are you, George?
I'm good. Thank you for asking.
Right on. I'm doing well, too. 5x5. Benjamin. Incredible. Benjamin Ty's in the house, giving us a little wave. Jack the Rail fans here. Thanks for coming. Swinging by and saying hi. All right. Ours Trains is wishing you a happy 15th and 1 day old birthday.
Thank you. Feels good to be a year older.
Right. Barn Full of Trains is in the house. I'll tell you what, that was an interesting one to see on the 1,000 subscriber special too, isn't it?
It literally was.
We always joke about it being a barn full of trains. It's not just a garage full or a closet full. But then you got to see it right there on the 1,000 subscriber special, right?
It's pretty cool.
All up in the attic. That was like a couple different layers up there.
Yeah, all different gauges too.
That was a neat one. I had to go back and check out his channel and look at that source material on that. That was fun to see. Let's see here. George R. in Connecticut's here. Let's see. George R. in Connecticut, classic railroader. Stephen Kofrill's in the house. Good to see you. Thanks for coming by. Husky Productions here says, hey, it's Brandon the Frisco 1522. And he was asking, to make sure that we go check out his video. And I apologize for not getting back over there to do that. So I'm going to write that one down right now. George, why don't you write that one down so we get back over there and do that so we see it. Brandon the Frisco. I think we got that? Got that, George? Or Husky Productions. Put in Husky Productions. I'm sorry for not doing that, but we'll get you, man. We'll get you. Let's see here. Tim Lewis says, nice video, Wally. Thanks for what you did. Well, hey, thank you for submitting the video. I think that there was some really neat stuff, some really neat trains, including the stuff that you said.
That's pretty cool.
Right. We got Michael Nappany checking in saying, yo. Right on. And we're getting away from James trains, too. So George's birthday was yesterday. How'd that go? Had a lot of fun on the stream, huh?
It was so much fun.
It was.
Yeah, I got it.
I mean, you weren't upset that I beat you in all the races, were you?
Beat me?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I beat you in all the races.
Last
the train racing, Fast Friday.
The big boy beat the Cab 4. I don't know. It's like a comeback story, you know.
George. So birthday. Well, maybe I just was in a good mood and wanted to let the birthday boy win.
Oh yeah.
Maybe that was it.
Is that what happened?
I'm thinking so, George. I'm thinking so. So happy birthday! And for those of you that can see in the background, we still got some of the remnants of our birthday party going on here. We got streamers in the ceiling, some balloons. We actually had a birthday party parade for you yesterday. That was pretty neat too, huh?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got to see a lot of cool people from the Train Collectors Association. But yeah, and then one of our friends brought. Okay, so we have a friend, Bilko. He might be watching right now. But he's got a train horn that we knew he had, but we've never seen it out. You know?
Right.
We've only seen the horn. We've never seen it, pull it out. Yeah, and I don't know. He comes by, and his trunk's pulled up, and all of a sudden you hear a.
That was so cool. That was awesome.
Yeah. I think his is a Nathan T5 or something like that. If I'm correct. But yeah, I'm tired. Yeah, I'm tired. I'm very tired too. Let's see. I caught NS 8105 interstate.
I don't know if you knew this or not, but we're
Oh, really? That's really cool. Let's see.
Alright, so we'll see on the stream. Yeah, I'll take a look at it. I don't need that one.
Let's see. Yeah. So, that's cool. So, clearly what we got running is we have the FM train match, which I might switch out with the Cab 4. And then we got the big boy. My favorite.
Yeah.
One of my favorites. That was the Cab 4. It was pretty cool. But, yeah. So, you know, got that going on. But always, if you see something on the left that you'd like to see, just let us know. You know, we're always up to requests.
We'll see you there.
Yeah, we got those over there. We got the Cap 4, Y3, all that stuff. So, yeah. You mind if I close this out?
Oh, yeah, for sure. For sure. Oh, that's good. That's good. Grandpa's calling. Checking in. Yep.
Hey, the man with the legend. He said, hey fellas, twice in one day, too much.
Too much.
Just talking about your train horn. You'll have to tell us what kind of horn it is.
Right. I'm sure there are a lot of people that will really dig out that horn that you got.
Yeah, and I forget, it's also like a specific engine too. I forget what kind of engine it was. It's a really cool story about it. Yeah, I wanted to do the horn and the bell, but I ran out of air. Oh, that's okay though.
Yeah, that's right. You got a bell. Did you know that?
No.
Yeah, last year when you went out to.
Oh yeah, when we went out to Albuquerque. Oh yeah, I remember hearing about that. That's cool.
You should have hooked that right up to my mouth. I got all kinds of hot air. I could have gotten that thing going. Yeah. Yeah, no, that was great. All of the neighbors were like, wait, what?
Yeah, the little girls next door got scared.
Yes, they did. Yes, they did. There was one, she was about 4 years old.
Yeah.
I don't think she understood what was happening.
Oh, but they were riding their bikes around.
So, all right, see. Let's see here. Michael Nappany says, I caught the 8105 Interstate Heritage Unit today.
Oh, that's cool. That's really cool. Yeah, that's cool. Great. Bilko says it's off the same as the same. That horn is off the same as my SD90 Mac or SD70 Mac.
No kidding. Yeah. That's cool. That's cool. I love it. I love it. SD70 Mac. Oh, Thomas Eiden's here. Good checking in. We were just talking about you earlier about how we're real excited about going over and seeing your layout. That should be a lot of fun. Let me tell you, I had a chance to visit with him and neat stuff down in his basement. George, I called it a man cave, and he's like, you know what? I don't like to call it a man cave because that kind of gives some connotations of, you know, just kind of sloppiness and everything like that. He's like, I like to call it my playroom. I like that. I like that too. I like it. It's a playroom. Yep. That's a great way to describe it. Great way to describe it. We're gonna go out there to his house at the 4 o'clock hour, which
it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait. Yeah.
Very cool. So
you got some couple of train related things for your birthday. Well, no, never mind. So, George, in terms of what we're running today, what you got going here? It's got some usuals, huh?
Yeah, I got the Big Boy and the Train Master. And I said that if anybody wants, or if anybody sees anything on the web.
Actually, we have a request, George. James Trains was asking if we could run our UP280.
Consolidation. Let's see if I can grab that.
All right. Barn full of trains. Wishing you a happy birthday again, George.
Thank you.
Right. So hopefully we can get that going. That'd be a fun one to run. Maybe that one he even pull the long.
Maybe. I don't know. That'd be some real sweet stuff.
Could be. Hold on. Let me see if I can turn that one down a little bit. There we go. So I was laughing. I was talking with Thomas Eiden on the phone today, and he was talking about layouts. He's like, I like layouts with lots of stuff going on and different things to see. And I laughed to myself. I was like, well, he probably doesn't like our layout then yet, because we don't have too much going on except for trains running right now. But his layout is full of action, full of stuff. There's some neat things to see. Like I said, it's loosely modeled after a stretch in Illinois going on into Chicago. You'll see that. It's fun times, fun trains, that's for sure.
I can't read these boxes.
Oh, George is having trouble in the workshop library back over there. So today here in Illinois, we've got a really nice day. Weather-wise, I hope everybody's got good weather around the country here, but it's supposed to get a little bit messy. George and I were going to go out if we could tomorrow, maybe do a little bit of workout at one of the city parks, working on some of the railroad area around the Prairie State Railroad Club, trying to get some fresh air in, go out and do that. Thought that might be fun, but it looks like, looking at the weather, like we might have some issues with the weather tomorrow. So maybe that's not going to work out. We'll see though. All right. So everyone's liking on that consolidation. They want to see that happen, especially Bill Cabernis. Bill loves that consolidation. In fact, Bill's with us, and you might see a lot on the videos that we have on the channel here, where he has a live seating consolidation, the Northern Pacific. Oh gosh, I forgot the number. I'm going to be chastised for that one, but he's got a really cool Northern Pacific consolidation that he's taught George how to run steam-wise, and so Bill and George run that consolidation on the railroad. We've got a couple of things. For those of you that don't know, George and I are not only into Lionel trains here, we're also into 7.5 gauge trains. And 7.5 gauge trains are kind of similar to 84, consolidation 84. There we go. Those of you that don't know, those are the larger style trains, the kind that similar to like what you would see in a fair that you'd ride on. And so they're sometimes called live steam. And actually, Bill's got a consolidation live steam engine. And we have a diesel switcher. We have SW9 diesel switcher, Santa Fe. We have eight cars that pull behind that switcher. We belong to a club out in Montgomery, Illinois, called the Prairie State Railroad Club. And so we go there quite often. And I think it's probably kind of overgrown right now because we've usually done as a club a couple of projects getting it back over there. So George and I thought we might head on over there, check that one out. So getting back to what we got going on the stream here, James Train says, when you put the 280 on, can you run it on the medium-sized loop? I'm guessing this loop right up over here, huh, James? This one? Check in with me and let me know, the one that runs right here. Because we can do that. Although that's the one that the Southern Pacific's running on now. We'll see what we can do. Tim's Train says, I want to get one of the Harriman 280 locomotives that came out with the Legacy. That'd be cool. Oh, J94 checking in. Good to see you, J94. Thanks for coming by. One consolidation that I saw that Lionel made was a consolidation that's kind of taken my heart. A couple years ago, we had the opportunity to ride on the Southern 630, 630 out at the Tennessee Valley Railroad Museum. George and I had a chance to ride in the cab of that one and watch it as they went out on its trip. So we did that, and ever since that, well, I've loved consolidations for a long time, but the 630 in combination with Bill's, I'd really like to get. We've got this consolidation, which is a cool one, and I'd really like to get Lionel made a model of this the 630, and I think that would be a neat one. 630, yeah. And then the other one that they have out there at the Tennessee Valley Railroad Museum that really was a neat engine, and they run it from time to time, although we didn't get to see it run, was the 4501. That's a neat engine. So James is saying, I got the 280 Legacy. I got the 280 Legacy, was the nickel plate 458. It ain't a Harriman, but I want the TMCC one as well. Well, that's cool. That's cool. Change Trains checking in, says, hi guys, sorry I missed the last few days, been busy. No problem, Shane, we understand. Where this is probably going to be the last one that we do in the afternoon. We're going to be moving our streams to Sundays. On Sundays for sure at 5:30.
Tomorrow's going to be the last.
5:30 we're doing tomorrow. Unless you want to do it earlier.
No. I thought
we were going to go later because we were going to go work at Prairie State.
Yeah, you're right. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So I lost my train of thought there. Sorry. This is going to be our last early one, and we're going to move our time slot starting tomorrow to 5:30, and I think we're going to be doing some videos at 5:30. One, maybe two a week after that. We're going to do it on Wednesdays, but we didn't want to overlap with Sparky, so we may be doing them on Sundays and Tuesdays or Sundays and Thursdays, depending on how that slots in. That's George. Ooh. The Trains and Things checking in, says, afternoon, gents. Got a whistle there. In fact, George, we have a request that when we run the consolidation to run it on the medium-sized loop in here. Yeah, so there's some closer close-ups on that one. Tim's Train says that James Trains, the UP and SP 280s are the only 280s known as the heritage consolidations. I didn't know that. So, again, thanks to everybody who had a chance to check in this morning when we were doing the premiere of our video. That was a lot of fun. We had some neat people there. 1,000 subscriber special. I can't believe that we've done, I think, over 60 live streams since we started doing these live streams. 60 of them. Usually doing 6 of them a week. So it's a lot of live streams. I'm amazed at how many words, how much George and I could yammer on and on and on about stuff. But we certainly made a lot of really good friends, and we thank everybody for coming in and hanging out with us and making the stay at home better. I hope that we've made the stay at home better for a lot of you guys as well. So, good stuff. Good stuff. Well, that's a neat looking engine there, huh? Isn't it, George? You like those consolidations, right?
Oh yeah, some of my favorites. Small engines are fun.
Well, it's funny, you know, in comparison, that looks like a small engine to what we're running here, right? But that is it. When we went out there and rode that 630, that's not a small engine, is it? That's a pretty big giant of an engine.
Yeah, it's very big.
Not responding, huh? Why don't you try that TMCC remote? That might be the issue. So, Trains and Things has just finished packing all my trains in my trailer, ready to ship to South Carolina. How about that?
Sweet.
Moving that out to South Carolina, TNT. Crazy. That's crazy to think about that. There we go. There's that consolidation. Good looking engine, George, isn't it? Good looking engine. Who requested that one? James's Trains? James's Trains. So, thanks for that request. That's a good one. Neat little puller. Hey, I see Railroad Videography's here, George. Welcome to the stream. Got a nice little consolidation missile there. There's a friend of mine that said that wasn't the proper whistle, that would have gone with a consolidation like that.
Wasn't the proper tender either, isn't it?
Well, the tender is an oil tender like that, but it's not that big. It's kind of or at least the one that's modeled after is more of a shorter, stubbier tender, if I'm not mistaken. Tim, thanks for hooking up James's Trains with the link to the video about the 261. Give me a second, George. The big boy keeps going up against us.
Well, it looks pretty sweet train. I'm surprised we can pull this train, honestly.
Consolidation, it could, huh?
I didn't hear it say I think I can.
Right? Looks like it's got a little face, too. That was always one of my favorites to run on your layout when you're.
Really?
Yep.
I thought it wouldn't work on that.
Oh yeah, that's right. Because of the it wasn't that one. It was the Atlantic that I like to run on your layout. This one doesn't like to run on tight curves because of the trucks that are on the tender. So people are liking that little consolidation opening.
Yeah.
James's Train says, okay, all I need to do is find one. It can't be that expensive. You know what I'm surprised, as nice an engine as that one is a very moderately priced train. Can't see it all. That'd be a cool one to make into GFW train.
Yeah, like remake Northern Pacific number 84.
Oh yeah. We gotta have the right tender. That's not the right tender.
Yeah, we could get it definitely.
Right, for sure.
Can you see the pictures out of here?
I think they're still in it somewhere. Let's see. Find that. SC Railroad Videography says run a Pennsylvania unit. Pennsylvania Railroad unit. Well, let us think on that one. I'm not sure if we've got any of them for this. Suppose we can run that later. Take the A6 later? Alright, we can run the A6 later. We'll do that. James's Train says, do you want me to make another GFW Trains locomotive, George? I've really enjoyed those James's Trains. Thanks for sharing those and making those. Pretty good stuff you make there. Quite the creative young man, let me tell you. That's good stuff. Good stuff. All right. just got a warning from our YouTube here that our stream bitrate is running too low. So I'm knocking on wood that everything's all right there. And
So
continue
here's what the engine looks like.
Oh, yeah. George, hold those up to...
That's the real engine. So as you can see, the tender's kind of shorter, or
Different look.
yeah, different look. And then here's another front view of the engine. Do you know where this is?
I don't.
There's a couple more.
A friend of mine gave me those pictures probably well before you were born.
Yeah. So Mr.
Domenico. Yep.
The numbers, they're 324, right? Yeah, correct. But yeah, it's weird. The number boards in 95 but they're working 41.
It is different. It is different like that, huh? So, So James's Trains is asking if it says OSL on the back of the tender, George.
Let's see.
And Trains and then says, hey George, if you guys can send me some decent artwork, I'll work on printing up a decal set for you for your planned special engine that you're building. Oh, that's cool.
That'd be cool. Yeah.
Fantastic. Fantastic. That'd be neat.
No, it doesn't.
We'll have to figure that one out on the Pacific. Yeah, well, I'm still trying to reach out on that Pacific yet. Don't have a deal finalized on anything, so I'm hoping to get that Pacific squared away. But I also think that would be useful now that I to make some additional rolling stock, some GFW Trains rolling stock, to go along with the caboose.
Yeah, yeah.
Need to get a whole train together for that one, huh?
Oh yeah.
So, Trading Pink says, you are custom building darn voice text. And James Train says, okay, I was asking because the Legacy UP one says OSL and it's 618.
Oh, interesting.
So Grandpa George says, yes, I think we saw the engine when we were on a tour. I think it might have been down near St. Louis at some little town.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
It sounds about right.
yeah.
I think I can get there.
Oh, it is
It's
slowing down, it's
creeping.
creeping. You guys can't see it, but that consolidation's just creeping along over here.
Watch, as soon as it gets on the bridge, it's going to speed up again.
Yeah, that's a spot in the layout where
It's the summit of
the
the
electricity goes down a little bit. I like to think that my bench work was perfect and you don't have a summit, it's all the same. You're saying?
No perfect is like, no railroad has just a straight line.
Yeah, it's a Raton Pass right there. Just made it past the Raton Pass.
There we go. There we go.
So J94 is also saying he likes the lighting in the caboose.
Oh yeah.
That is that's a neat set. Neat set. Grandpa says we got a bad lead in that track. But it's not necessarily a bad lead as much as at that point in the track, that's where the island is.
Oh, yeah.
So the electricity out there, the way that I've got it is kind of the back door route. That door route. For show. Trains and Things says that those dwarf signals were delivered.
Oh really?
I wonder if they were delivered today.
I'm gonna go ask Mom. We're gonna open them up on the screen.
Yeah, it'd be awesome to open them up on the stream. And Tim's Train says that GFW Trains, I'd like to see that new logo that's in the intro on the side of the Pacific. Yeah, that would be cool to see. I'm gonna have to double check on that. Okay, so the story behind that logo is I was looking at a video that Ours Trains had put up on his stream about the Alco Locomotive Works, and I saw on the floor that logo, and I thought it was the most beautiful logo, and it's the old logo from Alco, and that logo had a script Alco on the top of where it says GFW Trains. So I just found some of that artwork online and kind of took off the Alco and put on the GFW where the Alco was, and then underneath it I put in Trains. So I don't want to be borrowing anybody else's intellectual property. So what I need to do is I need to actually tweak that logo a little bit, so that even though we're keeping the spirit of Alco, but we're not taking anybody else's intellectual property. So we had a couple ideas with that. I just don't have the graphic design knowledge to make that work like we did. But I thought that was a neat one. I don't know how easy or hard it's going to be. If I can pull it up here real quick, I'll show everybody what I'm talking about with the GFW Trains logo. Let's see here. George, you got the box, huh?
Yeah.
Well, that's really cool. I know there's an easy way that I can do this one. Easy. Let's see here. I guess it's... Okay. That logo right there. That's the one. And it's actually where the GFW is. That it said Elko up there. It didn't say anything where the trains were. But I just thought that was such a neat looking logo with the gear and that kind of Art Deco motif. But like I said, I don't want to take anybody's intellectual property that they've made. And I'm kind of doing that there. So I'm thinking of like some different things to keep the spirit of that. That flying train, that's so cool, going into the gear like that. Yes. Anyhow, I digress.
Anyways.
Whoa! So, George, why don't you set this up before you open it?
Alright, so basically, Trains and Things, he sells signals on
Yes.
eBay, correct? Yeah? Or they 3D print signals, right? I'm pretty sure. You'll have to fill in a
Sure,
lot.
and actually what I'd like to do is I'd like to lean on TNT a little bit. You can put in the stream where you can buy these signals from.
Yeah, but
he makes these signals, and he's got a bunch of different outlets where he sells sells them.
But yeah, and they're pretty cool. He sent us some dwarf signals.
And he's got a lot of other ones. Yeah, the dwarf ones.
Yeah,
he's got dwarf ones. He's got ones that go over the top. A lot of neat stuff.
So gonna open them up.
Sent one in, and thank you very much for sending it along to us. These are going to be really cool. Going to be a really neat addition to the layout. We're going to have to do that. We have some time today, so maybe we can get those operating for tomorrow.
Yeah. Okay.
But from what I understand, they're really simple to install. You just install them into the
switches.
Yeah, you install them into the switches, and they go right along with the raw switches.
Oh. There you go. Here's the card. I'm going to take a screenshot of that.
So it just is a funny aside, George, that Ours Trains is suggesting on that Alco locomotive that we should make it into the Texas Special.
Yeah, with the rockets on it.
Yeah. So CSXNS Train Videos is checking in. Good to see you here. Thanks for coming by. Also CSX GET 44AC. Thank you.
This is cool. Got a diagram on explaining how to wire these up. Pretty sweet. And let's check that out. Really cool.
Right on, George. This looks like it's going to be some neat stuff. get to the good stuff, man. Just get to the
Yeah,
good stuff,
yeah.
buddy.
So here we go. Here's one of them.
Oh, look at that.
It's cool.
The dwarf signals, you can put those right into the raw switches.
Oops.
Oh, this is going to be cool. I can't wait to get these going.
I'll probably wire them up over here so everyone in the stream can see them. Like on this one.
For sure. For sure. Is there...
And there's a third one.
Oh, cool. Really neat. I can't wait to get those going. It's going to be a lot of
business
fun.
cards too.
RNRs, we're K&R custom models.
Pretty sweet.
We'll have to make sure we get these up as soon as we can, and we'll get a
Yeah.
we'll get a website on the description. That'd be really neat for people to go. These look fantastic, little dwarf lights. I've got LED lights in there, George, right?
Yeah, yeah. I think it explains everything, or a little bit about it in here.
I can't wait. Looks like it's got a green LED and a red LED in there.
Yeah. It's actually pretty cool.
Oh, and he says that they have dwarfs for fast track now too.
Oh, wow. That's neat.
Yeah. So CSX GE ET44AC says, how you doing today?
Me? I'm incredible.
Incredible.
So, yeah, it's seems fairly simple to wire.
Right on, that's good. We're going to have to do
Yeah.
that ASAP. I was wondering how long it was going to take for somebody to notice my shirt, George.
Is this the one from that picture?
Oh, no, but this is, I've got my Hawaiian twins.
Oh, dang, it's good for. Too bad they don't make any of this Hawaiian trains in scale. Forget the name of the railroad.
The Lahaina and Kaanapali, man.
Yeah.
Lahaina, Kaanapali, and Pacific. The sugarcane train.
Oh, yeah.
So CSXNS train video says I'm working on fixing issues on his new intro. And CSX GE ET44AC says I'm getting a new CSX locomotive.
Oh, fun. That's cool.
Yeah. I tell you what, we were getting ready to put it together, or try and put together a GFW Trains locomotive. And with that GFW Trains locomotive, it was hard because we'd have to paint over something.
Yeah.
I'd have to get and unfortunately, I was looking at ones and it was down to two that I felt that I could paint over. And this is probably going to be sacrilege for people. I'm going to get hate mail for saying this one. The two that it was down to for me to buy something to paint over, I found a lot of good ones that I just couldn't. I found a really good cheap one, but it was BNSF, and it was a really cool BNSF paint job. I thought I can't paint over BNSF. But the two that I was like, all right, Norfolk and Southern and CSX. I was like, all right, I feel comfortable painting over either one of those.
What kind of Norfolk and Southern is it?
Well, I didn't find any. I'm just saying that those were the two that I was like, all right, I feel comfortable painting over Norfolk and Southern. And
Honestly, I would let you paint over. I don't know. I would much rather not paint over the Norfolk.
The UP was right in there too, and I like the UP ones. I still like the UP ones if you were to do one because they got silver trucks.
Yeah.
And that would be a cool look. They have silver trucks as opposed to black trucks or a different color truck. My opinion.
Oh yeah.
So what Trains and Things says, have fun installing. They are easy to install and you're going to love them. I know that we are. I know that we are. We're going to put them on a neat spot on the layout, I think, like right down over here so people can see them as they come through.
Pretty cool. Yeah. Just figure out how we can do that. Sounds
Oh,
fun.
really, really good. Thank you so much for sending those along.
Yeah,
Fun little unboxing. That was an unexpected bonus for today. Hey, we're getting close to the 4 o'clock hour.
Really?
Yeah, for those just tuning in, what do we got going on at 4 o'clock, George?
We're going to do a layout visit.
Yes!
Yeah.
Thomas Eiden's house.
Correct. Yeah, he's got a really cool layout. Yeah. So,
O-gauge layout, some G-gauge stuff.
correct. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Neat. Little playroom in the basement.
One feature I think's cool about his lab, he's got the subway system.
He does. He does. He's got a layout on top, and then underneath he's got
very few labs with the subway system. That's pretty cool.
Right.
And then on top he's got a system going it's on the Milwaukee line going north out of Chicago, correct?
Right. It would. You'll see it. I don't want to take any away of his take away any of the thunder, but it's loosely the Milwaukee line, out of Chicago. Yeah. And he showed me one plot. I didn't really catch this on the videos that he had sent, but there's a river that's loosely based off the Chicago River. And he's got a couple of really neat bridges on it. He's got one that's a swing bridge.
Really?
Uh-huh. He's got one that's a lift bridge. Then off in the distance, he's got the picture of the lift bridge over the Chicago River that we see.
Oh, yeah, the one. Oh, yeah, that's cool.
It's still an active lift bridge out there on the Chicago River.
That's so cool.
My dad and I, in fact, have canoed around there.
Yeah, I remember
There was a canoe race that my dad and I did, and it ended right down there by where that lift bridge is at.
That's really cool.
Yeah. So we're in for a treat today, folks. We're in for a real treat. So make sure you stay with us, and hopefully we'll get some more people coming along for the 4 o'clock hour so we can go over there and visit him. And knock on wood, man. I'm knocking on wood, George, that we don't have any streaming issues or anything like that. But we did a little test stream and had a chance to have a little visit before we started the stream today. And
Worked out?
Worked out. 5x5, dude. 5x5.
Solid.
So hopefully we're going to be set to go. All right. I am confused by some of these comments, so if I skipped you, I apologize. It's because I'm kind of off on the way that I'm doing it. Today I don't have my usual computer that's up on the screen here. I'm going off my phone. It says here, CSXG ET44AT says it's cozy all the way from Florida. Right. James's train says me and my dad went down the Chicago River on our boat a couple of weeks ago. That's really cool. I don't know if I remembered or I'd forgotten. I didn't realize it. James, are you from the? James is from Joliet, right?
I don't know where he's from, but I know he's from the Chicago area. I think we filmed a couple of strings at shows.
Oh, no kidding, James.
There's grandpa's strings, yeah.
Very cool. I don't know. You probably told me, and I just had forgotten about when and where and how that all took place. But that's really cool. James's train says his planes. Oh, that's a neat spot. So yeah, going on the Chicago River there by Union Station sure is a neat trip because for those of you that don't know or aren't familiar with Chicago, that the part of Union Station runs right parallel to the Chicago River. So if you boat or if you canoe along the Chicago River, you can look right up into where the trains are arriving at Union Station.
Yeah.
Or vice versa, if you're in Union Station.
You can see it from the road too if you look on the other side of the river, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Yeah. I think
kind of on an angle, you can see across the river into
my friend and I, we went to Nolan actually, we went to Chicago one time. His family took me to Chicago for his sister's birthday. And Nolan and I, we just spent, an hour or two just walking around Chicago, and I insisted that we had to go by Union Station.
Attaboy.
And we went in there, just hung out, went to a couple of the restaurants there, and it's pretty fun. So.
Yeah, neat. Union Station's really kind of a neat spot to go, isn't it, George?
Yes.
What's your favorite spot at the Union Station there in Chicago?
The train start.
By the Great Hall there, huh?
That's probably my favorite.
Your sister's is the first class lounge.
Free soda and peanuts.
Free soda and peanuts. Yeah, it's also the first class lounge. That's like a big area that's dedicated to the Pennsylvania Railroad.
Yeah,
that's
it's got
really
like
neat.
a keystone from like an original P1 or something like that. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
A couple of really beautiful pieces of artwork in there as well, huh?
Yeah, definitely. And like pictures too. Stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's busy railroad station. Lots of Amtrak coming in and out of there.
The bathroom's the best part in my mind. It's all decorated PRR.
Alright.
Let's just say I went in there a lot after going to that soda machine.
So James's train says that he went under a BNSF engine. He waved, and the BNSF engine hit the horn.
Hey.
Pretty cool. Pretty cool. That consolidation
Squeaker.
is squeaking along, isn't it?
Yeah, we can lube it.
Came to an abrupt stop right
Yeah.
there.
Like it hit something.
Cool. Cool. Well, the 4 o'clock hour's right around the corner. Ooh. So I got a lot of pressure on me, though, George. Yeah. Mr. Eiden said that his family's going to be watching and tuning in, so I've got to
Oh boy.
knock on wood, hope that we have everything roll along pretty neat. But I'm telling you, people are going to be impressed. It's a neat layout.
Oh yeah, it's very neat.
Really neat layout. So it would be fun to see for everybody. Fun to see.
Yeah, I don't understand why they did this with this tender. Tim can probably explain.
Why don't you show everybody?
But on the tender over here, if you can see it, the lighting's kind of bad. But they have this like box thing, right? And this is all that the tender is able to move. So I mean, it's kind of but this one's fine. I mean, and we have another engine with the exact MI Atlantic, or Southern Pacific Atlantic is actually technically, but I run it. It has the same exact tender, yet it doesn't have this problem with the back truck. So I don't know.
Who's got that?
We have the exact same tender on the Atlantic,
Oh,
the
right.
Southern Pacific one, and it doesn't have this problem. I wonder what the minimum curve radius says on the box.
Yeah. 'Cause
Yeah,
that thing doesn't like anything less than 072.
Yeah. I mean, it's fine. Maybe we could probably squeeze it in 054, but
Certainly doesn't like it. Doesn't have very the fronts goes back
Right.
from side to side. But yeah, if you ever wanted to do this, you might have
No,
to
it's weird.
grind this down a little bit or something.
but on the Atlantic, it's like this is not even there. This part. I don't know. It is what it is.
Right. Right. So let's see here. Trains and Things, going back to the dwarf signals again. Thank you for that. Trains and Things says we are printing up 100 more dwarf signals because orders are flying in as fast as we can assemble them.
Really?
Please, yeah. And you'll have to take a look at some of those other signals that he's got that he sells too. They've got some really, really neat
Yeah, I
stuff.
have to make a video and put it installing it. That'd be pretty fun.
That would be neat. That would be neat. Grandpa says the bridge is, speaking of that lift bridge, says that lift bridge is just down past the Amtrak coach yard and the Diesel House. The Flatwater Classic Canoe Race used to end up by Chinatown, and it started on the North Branch by Irving Park. And that's the one Grandpa and I would do together. Chicago Flatwater Classic. So CSXGE ET44AC says he went to Chicago for his 16th birthday.
Oh wow, that's cool.
Yeah, maybe I can take you to Chicago for your 16th birthday.
That'd be pretty fun.
Yeah, that would be fun, wouldn't it? Wouldn't it be fun? Chim's Train says, at GFW, I think that box is for a Katy coupler because I think Lionel offered a 2-rail version of the 280, but he's not sure.
It's not like something MTH would do, but like I'm telling you, like we have the Southern Pacific Atlantic has the exact same tender, just painted up with orange and.
Does it have different trucks or the same
No,
trucks?
it's got the same trucks. It's just like that one spot.
That one little piece, huh?
Yeah.
Maybe that's why we can get it at a discount, huh?
Yeah. It's a pretty sweet engine though. You just have to have a lot.
It is a very neat engine.
Like, we don't really need to worry about that, hopefully. But
Some spot where it's shorted out there on there. Just, yeah. So oiling those engines is quite.
it's like blowing a real thing.
Yeah, it is. It is. I'm a little disappointed about the weather tomorrow, George. I was looking forward to actually getting out.
Really? Is it gonna be cracking?
Sounds like it. Hey, T's Cottage guys checking in from across the pond.
Hey.
T's Cottage guys. T's actually not across. Anyway, I'm sorry. Another layout that was a really neat layout that was in the 1,000 subscriber special. Bill Caberna says that they say that consolidation is advertised for running on 031 track, George. No. It ain't gonna run on 031 track. That's for sure. D. Klinger says hi. Just got back from the getting the plywood and foam for his layout. Very cool. Very cool. Getting back to T's Cottage Guys layout. That one's another one of the neat ones. I had a hard time with T's Cottage Guys layout in the when I put together the 1,000 subscriber special, because he made a really neat layout as part of his submission, or a really neat video as part of his submission for the 1,000 subscriber special. And where he edited up and had sound and everything like that. It was really cool. So that would be one that I would definitely encourage everybody to go back to and look at the source materials on T's Cottage Guys layout. That one, it was a really well done video that he had. They were all well done, but that was one that I felt bad because it was already production-wise in a very good state, and I had to kind of rewind on some of the production of that one so that I could make it into our 1,000 subscriber special. Let's see. So, James's train says I finished the GF&W 324. It's on the Discord.
Nice.
All right. And Grandpa was asking if we're running in Sugar Grove tomorrow. We're not running. We're going to go out there and we're going to do some track maintenance out there. I think that was what our plan was, as opposed to going out and run. Yeah. We figured that there was a way that we could do that, keep social distancing, and he said that I guess want to make sure that the railroad's in a halfway decent state when we're ready to use it, rather than having to put a bunch of time in on the prime spot. Yeah. Especially, it's probably good right now because the bugs might not be as big an issue as it will later on in the summer as well. Hey, guess who's just coming through the door, George?
Ooh.
Got our man Angel Garcia.
Angel. Hawaiian shirt, Wally?
Of course. Saw that picture of me holding George with that Hawaiian shirt I got from when he was a little guy. Well, I know what it is. Once you have a good Hawaiian shirt, George, you never let it go.
We have the same thing here today. I don't know, just like put it on one arm, you know?
That would be good. Let's see. So Trains and Things says that my brother lives in Naperville, and for a few years ago, he's now in South Carolina where I'm working. We're going to build the signals and train layout together. Very cool. So, let's see. Andrew Garcia said there was a great graduation drive by today, and all of his racing friends are coming by. So he's saying that probably can't be good. Revving their engines up.
I think he was joking though, but he said he couldn't come by and just drive by and do a burnout.
I like that. We got a cul-de-sac. You can do a donut.
That's right.
Yeah. Maybe we can hire him a good attorney if he gets caught.
Yeah, I don't know if I need you.
All right. Tracy thinks this nice shirt. Doesn't issue to go there. Now who wants to quarantine? Agreed. Well, hey, you know what? We're right there on the cusp of the 4 o'clock hour. Let me see if I can. Why don't we turn these trains down a little bit? For those of you just tuning in, we've got the special opportunity here. We're going to have the opportunity to go over to Thomas Eiden's house. Thomas Eiden has a really neat layout, a couple of layouts actually, in his house and down in his basement, or on the porch of his house and down in the basement. So I'll help you out here, George. Turn these off.
Sorry, I was just fixing.
Okay, no, I'm just helping you. I thought I was helping you out. I'm not trying to be snarky. So let's see here, friends. Let me see if I can pull up Thomas. So everybody hang with me. We're there. I'm giving a call. Hang with me, everybody. Hey, Tom. All right. We got you here.
Oh, there we go.
Looking good. All right. We got Tom online. Let me see if I can pull him up on the stream now. Hold your breath.
Yeah, hold your breath. for sure.
Oh, I'm giving some problems here. All right, no problem. Well, let me just get you back.
I'm reading you loud and clear. So.
Very good. I'm just trying to get the
Stream.
Stream going.
the video coming up on here.
There we go.
I think we got you. Bingo. I think we're ready. I think we're rolling here. We got you into the...
Where do you want my volume on my phone to be set? As high as it'll go?
I think you're good. I think we
Okay.
got you coming in loud and clear on our end, and we got your video coming up. Hey, welcome to the stream. Thanks for coming by. Thanks for letting us visit at your layout. This should be lots of fun.
Well, thanks for having me.
Yeah. Well, for those of you that are just
Hi,
tuning
George.
in,
Nice to
Hi.
meet you.
Yeah,
Face.
nice to meet you too.
for those of you
Happy-
just
by the way.
tuning in, I'd like everybody to meet Thomas Eiden. Thomas has been coming and visiting with us on our live streams as we've been doing them.
That's almost the beginning.
Yeah.
You know how I found you? I saw one of your videos. Oh gosh, it must have been in March when you did Stan Ludd's layout.
Oh yeah, huh?
That popped up on my screen and I watched it, and then the next thing you know, I'm hearing about your live stream, and that's how I found it. So
Haha. Yeah, that's cool.
It was almost like a perfect storm with that layout video, because that one...
that was a
yeah.
very nice layout to broadcast on, to let
Yeah.
people see. It really
That
was.
Yeah, it came out right around the right time too.
Right.
Yeah.
We just had gotten finished videoing that.
And that we blew up as well.
Right.
That was pretty,
So that it was a neat layout that got pushed out there. We had an opportunity to go over there and everything like that. But speaking of really cool layouts, who is getting to know you has been a lot of fun. And then not only that, like we were talking about, it's really cool to not only meet a person, but also see their layout and everything like that. It was cool to talk with you before the stream today. So you've been doing this train thing for a long time, huh?
Yeah, I was 76 on Wednesday, and I've been doing it since I was 3.5.
Well, happy
Like every-
birthday to all you May guys.
Pardon me.
Said happy birthday.
I had, I had a break in there, like everybody does. I went to service and went to college, and then got married and started having kids, and then about age 34, 35, I got the bug again. And
But you started really young, huh?
yeah, my parents, when I was 3.5, gave me a Lionel set for Christmas, and it was kind of over the top, really, when you consider what some people got, because my dad added 2 or 3 accessories to it right at the beginning. So there was a lot of lasting play value to it.
So-
It wasn't just train run around the track.
Not to cut you off, you were 3, so that was what, 1976 or something like that?
Yeah. Track 47. Yeah. My wife was a month old.
Go ahead, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah, we're old timers, that's
Yeah.
for sure. But we still love doing young things, and that's what this does. In my opinion, this keeps you thinking and moving and young thinking. I think your dad would probably attest to that.
Absolutely. So then you got your layout when you were 3,
Hmm.
and and then it just kind of went from there. Or?
Yeah, it's interesting. I mentioned to you earlier, George, that they set it up in the living room of our apartment on Richmond Avenue on the north side of Chicago, and they left it up until mid-February, and then my mom finally said we had to put the train away, and I was very sad. But being 3.5 years old, she probably gave me a lollipop or a candy bar, and that changed my thinking, and it went away. But then in the middle of the summer, she said, let's get it back out again. We had a couple of rainy days, and she said, let's get it back out. And she put it in the bedroom, and I played with it for another month or two. So I was never long periods of time away from being able to play with trains, which became my love. And when my parents built their home in Deerfield, it had a full basement. It was a big house, and it had a full basement. And when they finished the basement, they segregated a part of what was the laundry room over in one corner, or one wall, to build a layout. And my dad had a carpenter build it in a very unique way. It was about 24 inches off the floor with hinged legs, and it was hinged away from the wall. So when we wanted to store it and get it out of the way, we could take the buildings off and the cars and just flip it up and hold it up against the wall, so it was out of the way and it didn't get damaged. Get lots of things set on it that kept you from being able to use it anyway. So it's really a very clever presentation. And then somehow in my teens I get into HO, and that was just nothing but a huge frustration for me. I just was never able to make them run the same way these O gauge trains
I don't
run.
know anybody that's gone through that phase.
Yeah. I'm not knocking HO. I mean, it is still, of all of the model railroad, it's the largest percentage of the population that does it. But the guys who do it that are really good at it have just the patience of saints, because they're willing to take all that time to make it run perfect.
So living in Deerfield there, you're right along the railroad, right?
Yep, the Milwaukee Road.
Okay, and then I'm sure that...
You know, everybody was commenting about my 261 this morning, which is, as Lionel engines go, it's kind of a lumbering beast. It's kind of clumsy. It's neat looking, and it sounds really cool, but it just doesn't run like some of my other engines. But I had the pleasure, when I was 9 years old, I was a Cub Scout, and the church that we belonged to, the Cub Scouts and the Boy Scouts met on the same night because there weren't that many people. And they planned a father-son trip to Minneapolis in the fall of that year, and we all went on the Hiawatha from Glenview, Illinois, all the way up to Minneapolis, spent the night, and came back. And what was pulling Hiawatha but number 261? And it was just about a year before they mothballed it. And when they mothballed it, it spent 2 years in the Deerfield commuter yard. They just, they'd shove engines wherever they could, get them out of the way as they were changing, and then eventually take them to the scrapyard or whatever. And that one ended up getting donated to the National Railroad Museum up in Green Bay. And then Friends of 261 got it from them in '93, I think.
Yeah, it's a pretty sweet engine.
It is. I mean, I don't mean to malign it at all.
Yeah,
I mean, it was kind of the first model that Lionel made where they had the steam chest smoke and some of the other things in it. So it's got a lot of really positive features. But if there's a quirk in the track, it's going to find it, and it doesn't like it. Whereas some others don't do that. That's why when someone asked this morning if it would run on 042 track, I don't think so. I mean, I tried it once, and it was not fun.
Yeah.
So
that's the way it is with those big articulated locomotives.
They're heavy and they're clumsy. And I've always been a fan of smaller engines. I love geared locomotives, Shays and Climaxes, things like that. I've always been partial to them because they're just so uniquely different from everything else.
Yeah, we have a friend who, he models, or he's got a layout, and he models all cast scenic railway stuff. So he's got like a couple of Shays that he runs a lot.
So he's got Western Maryland number 6.
Not. I think so. I think
I'm sure he does.
Yeah.
That's there. I've got the Lionel model, or MTH model of it.
That's cool.
The cool engine.
Yeah.
It really is.
So it's kind of neat in the small world angle of our little railroad community in our corner of the hobby here, Tom. We've got a couple people checking in. Angel Garcia, who's a usual contributor around here, says that he used to be a caddy at Broward Country Club there in Deerfield.
Oh, really? In Deerfield?
Yeah.
Really?
And then my father actually also says in 1955 he sold Tribune subscriptions door to door on North Richmond Avenue with the Tribune crew. So if you were having to shoot some if you're having to shoot some guys from Chicago out of the neighborhood, it might have been him.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I don't know about that.
Well, fun.
My dad grew up in Rogers Park. He was from Rogers Park and went to Loyola University, and his father was the postmaster in Rogers Park. So during the Depression, his dad made a good enough living that he was actually able to go to college, and then worked his way through law school. This is really incredible when you think about what the world is like. He would get up at 3 a.m. and take 2 buses from the north side down to the south side and unload boxcars for 6 hours, then take buses back to downtown Chicago to go to law school at Loyola's Law School.
Wow.
And then come back, and he ran the Loyola Community Theater at night, and he'd study while the theatrical performances were going on. And he'd repeat that 5 days a week. That's devotion.
Yeah. Wow. That's dedication right there.
Yeah.
So, but living there in Deerfield along the Milwaukee Road tracks, like you and I were talking about earlier, has really kind of shaped your love of the railroad and everything like that, right?
Oh, yeah, it did. It really did. I mentioned I had a good friend that I grew up with who was a year older than me that was into trains more than I was. He had American Flyer and I had Lionel, but we weren't the normally competitive, mine's better than yours guys. We would go to each other's houses and run trains as though we were running a railroad. And when he graduated from college at John Carroll, he came back and went to work for the Northwestern Railroad, and he ran their commuter operations for 23 years before they consolidated it with Metra and made them all, one big happy family, if you could call it that. And now he's 77 years old, and he works for a consulting firm in Chicago that does all sorts of consulting for any kind of commuter traffic at all, buses, light rail, commuter rail like Chicago has. So he's lived his hobby his whole life. It's really
That's
kind of
cool.
interesting.
Yeah, that is an interesting connection there, isn't it?
Love it. Yeah.
So, speaking of the Milwaukee Road and your love of railroads and everything like that, one of the things I was kind of talking about with people on the stream about your layout was your actual layout is kind of a recreation of.
With great liberty and a lot of compression, it is. I've got a model of the under part of Union Station, and above it is a whole Lego display of buildings that I have built.
That's
And I was
cool.
telling Wally, I found out after all these years of working with Lego that the easiest way to get asked to leave the room by anybody connected with the company is to use an S after Lego, the plural of Lego. But anyway, I've got that, and then it comes around. I've got a little station over in the corner that I call Healy, which was the first main stop in the city as you're coming out, and then Glenview, and then Deerfield, and then Libertyville, which is where my wife and I lived for 30 years and raised our kids.
That's cool.
In between that is part of the Chicago River that you were explaining, which is not at all in place, given the geography of it all, but it's the only way it would work on the railroad to be able to make it happen. So,
Very cool. Very
and
cool.
all of this is just fantasy anyway. If we have to do it exactly as they did it, it
That's
wouldn't
the
be a lot.
That's the beauty of modeling.
Yeah.
Right.
You're creating your own little world the way you see it. And
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
it's none of my business to criticize what somebody else does or them me. I mean, it's
Well,
just the way it is.
And it was funny that you were saying that because you're talking about your layout and
Yeah.
how you don't like looking out and not seeing anything in their bare areas. And I laugh. It's like, oh gosh, it must be curdling for you to look at our live stream and see all of this behind us, or we don't have any.
What, by admission, you just got that recently put up. I mean,
Yep.
I've only worked this, believe it or not, just short of 3 years. I'm amazed that I've accomplished what I've accomplished. Because
Yeah.
I've never really worked that hard on it. I never come down and do this for more than a couple hours at a time, or you start to lose your mind.
Yeah.
You try too hard and then things don't go right.
Yeah.
Which is the blessing and the curse, right? You could lose your mind.
That's right. Well, if it becomes an obsession, you should walk away from it.
Right. Right.
And that's not fun.
Right. Well, listen. You know what? Why don't you, if you don't mind, Tom, can you kind of give us a? Well, I called it your man cave, and I agree with you. It's not a man cave. It's a playroom.
That term, I just don't use. I mean, I told you about the play that ran in Chicago for a while called Revenge of the Caveman, and the opening scene of the play was a woman sitting at a very nice dressing table, primping herself and getting all ready, and her husband's over on the other side of the room, going through the hamper looking for the least dirty clothes. Yeah. And so Caveman kind of just takes it back a stage. I just like it as a playroom. It's my getaway. I've got a TV in here. I'll watch when I'm watching your stream. I'm also working on the train. Just kind of hanging out.
Gosh, yeah. So, hey, Tom, one question that's come up on the stream. What was your friend's name again? My father, or my uncle, actually, my worked for this Chicago Northwestern back in that time, too. And they made, my dad was thinking maybe those dots would connect.
His name is Bill Otter.
Bill Otter.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, I just Googled him the other day just to see if he's still with us, because when you get to this age, you hope they are. But and if he's still active, and he's still working actively, works the company he works for is at 161 North Clark in the city. So.
Cool. So your playroom, why don't you give us a little bit of a tour of your playroom there?
We'll try. I'm going to flip this around so that okay, now you
All
can
right, yeah,
see.
we're looking good on our end.
All right. This is the far end, and it incorporates what I'd call my engine yard. I've got Lionel's back shop there, and the back of some stores, woodworking, Menards plant. I've got that little building there, believe it or not, is a paper stock building. And this is a kit. I can't remember who the company is that made it. It's a very elaborate kit. It's a produce market. You see, you can look into the side of it. I don't know if I can get a very good shot of it, but it's got all of the various things that would be in a produce market. I was going to build it when I got it, but my wife and I were in the motorcycle business at the time, and I got it in the spring, and we were working 7 days a week, so there was no time for it. And I found a guy at a hobby store that was a regular there that built buildings for people, and I just paid him to do it, which is really a sick admission because most modelers would never admit that. You know, why let someone else do it? But I just didn't have time. And then I've got some various. That's a cardstock building there. That's one of those little puzzles that you make into it. This is a Berkshire Models kit that I built about 10 years ago, and it's got a lot of detail in it. I don't know if the lights will show it well enough. Got a full interior in it that I put in it that's got a counter like a pharmacy would have, and the second story is an office with people in it. And then a lot of the rest of it is just the normal stuff that you buy off the shelf. I was saying to you, Wally, everybody kind of has a lot of the same thing. So I was impressed with one of the layouts on the video this morning where the guy, it was a very narrow layout, but he had a lot of really neat streets and very different buildings. And I'm saying to my wife, as we're watching it, where did he get that stuff? You know, but that's the way it goes. This is what I affectionately term Glenview Station. It looks similar to the way the Glenview Station used to look. It's actually Lionel's, it's Ridgeway Station. It's a tin plate model. Go ahead.
And Tom, that Glenview Station's on that Milwaukee line that runs through Deerfield, right?
That's the first suburban stop. All trains coming out of Chicago stop at Glenview. Even the Amtrak one. They pick up passengers from the suburbs there. That's the place you go if you're going to go north on Amtrak to Milwaukee okay. You don't have to go into the city to get on the train. And then as you can see underneath here, I've got, what would be the lower barn for what is like Union Station.
Look at that.
Yeah, that's cool.
Doesn't at all resemble it, but, it's there. And then that's an old Atlas train shed model that I used as kind of the base part that people would walk through, and then I've got a little station that I think Lionel made. That's actually Grand Central. And then as you can see, all of the Lego.
That's cool.
My grandkids love them. When my one granddaughter comes up here, the first thing she does is come in and do it. In fact, when she was here the last time, I was running that, and I was running 2 trains here, and she said, "This is just too confusing. I can't keep up with all of this." I said, "I know. It is for me too." And then there's an area that I haven't yet finished. This was all kind of repurposed about a year ago. I had my turntable and engine house back there, and it just didn't work right because I don't have an indexing turntable. And trying to get that thing lined up to pull things on and off was just more trouble than it was worth. So I moved the turntable way to the other end of the train and just finished this off as like it's kind of an industrial grain yard and other things like that. And then, we just panoramic across.
So,
Here,
Tom, if I could cut you off there real quick before you move on in the layout, there was some. So the layout's really neat, but you had some really neat trains that were in that as well. We saw that 261, a couple of Sioux switchers, some bi-level cars. Can you tell us a little bit about those?
Well, the bi-level car.
Not to mention that other one that's right there at the bottom. There we go, the Hudson. So.
I was telling you earlier that this is my favorite loco. It runs beautifully. It's got so many great features because it was the first one they did, I think, with the whistle smoke, and it's got the swinging bell that you control. The sound on it is really neat. The Hudson was really the workhorse of the steam era when you look at it. It was smaller, but it was much more powerful than a lot of them. They got much more bang for their buck out of it.
Oh yeah.
The switchers are both MTH SW2s, and I just, I grew up around a lot of Sioux Line trains too. They came through Mundelein, mostly freight. And they've converted that now to a commuter line going out towards Antioch, Illinois. But I don't know what railroad would ever think of making their engines white. because most of the time, this is what they looked like once they got worked hard.
Right?
Huh?
I said, right. I lived along the Milwaukee Road Sioux line there. That's the way they always looked. And I was always tell George.
Gives character.
I never understood the Sioux line.
I didn't either. Well, I love the Sioux line. I love the J line. The EJ&E was another one that's just absolutely. When I worked, I was in the banking business, and my office in Waukegan looked right out towards Lake Michigan, but it looked over the yards in Waukegan, and the J switchers were always moving things around. And then they'd head down, southwest through Libertyville and Mundelein, and then down towards Elgin. It was the ultimate short line, just at least in my experience.
Yeah.
This is another little kit. I had the same guy build this when I was really busy. It's called Wicked Wandas. It's it's for late evening, and they're of course awful. People would refer to it. And then moving on, this is my first. I have never in all the years of model railroading tried to do a water feature. And I must have read 100 different articles on what to do, and most of them want you to just put something on and then pour a lot of. And it's so tough to do because if you don't seal it off perfectly, 80% of your liquid is found in a hot gooey mess on the floor. It'll find the one hole that you didn't cover and it's gone. So I read one article, and what the guy told me to do is just use foam board, paint your paint on it, and then use just clear acrylic and brush it on. Brush it on and brush it on and brush it on and just keep doing it. And after you've got about 10 coats on, it'll start to look deep and different. And
that is a neat effect.
Yeah.
I can't believe that's how you did that. That looks great.
It isn't messy. It just comes out very easy. At first, you don't think it's going to work, but then when you start getting some depth to it, it starts taking on a different look. And then, as I showed you earlier, and your dad was commenting about the lift bridge, my wife found this. I said, I want to find something that's the Chicago River with bridges. And she went online, and there are photographs. Chicago is the most photographic city in the United States. And there were just pages and pages and pages of bridges and train traffic and downtown Chicago and everything all integrated. And she found this, and we downloaded it to her phone. Then we took a little trip to Walmart, had them enlarge it, and I pasted it on the wall.
Oh, check that out.
It just gives it some depth, And then the rest of these are just different building flats that I found from different people. Those ones in the back were made by a company called Elfin Model Works. I think during the last Great Recession, he just kind of retired. I've not been able to find him again. And some of them are, made by Lionel and other companies. Someone also noticed this morning that they saw a French locomotive. There's a French locomotive and a German locomotive. These are both MPH. They are spectacular models. I mean, the French one, that's the actual head engine for the Orient Express.
Wow.
It has over 250 added-on detail parts. It is the most magnificently done model for an out-of-the model I've ever seen, and it runs beautifully. But it doesn't fit America, Whenever I have guest rail, I mean, they used to bring engines over to the United States and run them here, but I mean, it's not often. And it looks a little out of place, but I think it's just gorgeous. So
what a neat model.
And again, you can do whatever you want when it's your train. This is another little one about a model I found about a year ago. It's a little freight depot made out of part of a boxcar and some other junk they cobbled together, and that was not at all uncommon 50 years ago, believe me. Right next to, of course, the icing station. And and this, pardon me, I'm going too fast. This station here is, I affectionately refer to it as Deerfield's station, and it looks a lot like Deerfield's station still looks today. It's a big, wide, long station on the side of the tracks with a big freight depot in it.
Is that the station made by Menards?
Yes, it is, George.
Oh, that's cool.
It is, and it fits. It just fits nice there. And then, because I don't know if I showed you this earlier, I have a big bascule.
Wow.
And that's actually G-scale. I bought that for my G-scale railroad when I was building it in the downstairs of our house when we lived in Libertyville. But I incorporated into this because I wanted to come from one side of the layout to the other to not always have to make the big full horseshoe. And so I refer to that as the J line coming in because this little station right here I call Rondout. Have you ever heard of Rondout?
Yeah.
The Great Rondout train robbery? Well, Rondout is right between Lake Bluff and Libertyville along Route 176. It's a very rough industrial area. Big batch plants for asphalt and truck companies and things like that. And there's an actual little widening in the tracks there. It's where the mainline Milwaukee Road goes north to Milwaukee, and the Janesville branch branches off, heads out towards Libertyville, and ends up all the way out in Fox Lake.
Oh, wow.
In fact, it went even beyond that. It went to somewhere in Wisconsin, but they discontinued service beyond Fox Lake a number of years ago. But I just put a little station here because it's at the joint of two tracks.
Yeah.
And then this is all unfinished at this point. I'm getting down to not having much to do, believe it or not. This been off all this time. Made it pretty easy. And then this is a Woodland Scenic's little station that I affectionately have termed Libertyville, and it kind of looks like the old Libertyville station did.
Yeah.
So it fits. And then we're back, and then it works its way all the way back around. So
James, I'm sorry, Tim. I'm reading everybody here. Tom, we got some questions here in terms of people watching watching the stream and looking at your layout. One of the questions people are asking the curves on your layout. What kind of curves are you using for the gauge on your layout?
Everything is 054.
054.
Yeah.
All right.
Didn't want to make it wide enough for 072 because I didn't have anything that demanded it. I never had any intention of owning a Challenger. I've got, a big boy. The Challenger would work on this because it's 2662. I've got a triplex, an MTH triplex, which works beautifully on it.
Oh, really?
So, reason to want anything a lot bigger. And so the 054 worked fine. And when we moved, I had a whole lot of 054 track left, so I wasn't going to throw it out.
So on another question, speaking of track, was Ross and Gargrave's track. Is that what you were using there?
Ross switches and Gargrave's track.
And the question was, is that what you've always used as you modeled?
When I got back into which was in around 2000, very briefly I used MTH real tracks, which I have on my subway, the subway here, and L. It's good track. I mean, people like to rip on this stuff. It's not as authentic. They say it's not that. It actually works very well, but it is incredibly difficult to augment. In other words, if you end up an inch short, you got to find a 1-inch piece.
Okay,
and
right.
Make those. You can't cut it. You can't splice it. It doesn't. It just doesn't unless you want to become very creative. But it works really well. And I think I've never used Lionel's Fast Track. I'm sure it's probably good also. I just, although another stream I watch on Sundays, a guy called PTH.
Yeah.
Right.
I know him, yeah.
He has Fast Track on part of his layout and Fast Track switches, and after about 10, 12 years of them, the switch motors are not working right, and to get to them and fix them, you've got to tear up 10 feet of track.
Yeah.
So he's thinking of going back, replacing everything with Gargraves and Ross switches, but got on the other half.
Yeah, my cousin has a big problem with those switches, the Fast Track switches.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think they're fine if you don't incorporate a lot of ballast and scenery around them, because you can then get them quickly. But if you got to tear everything up, that gets to be your kids start hearing words they've never heard before. If you don't.
George has never heard those words.
No, never.
Yep.
George has never heard those words.
That's what being a good parent is, So, but I've never had a problem with Gargraves. A Dremel tool with a cutoff wheel and Gargraves track is heaven, because you can make anything fit by just splicing and cutting wherever you have to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very, very forgiving.
So I see you got the subway over there. Like, what is the track plan for that part of the?
Basically, where I'm looking right now, it goes under the table and makes a loop and comes back. One track goes this way and loops all the way back around and comes back, and then it runs all the way along here. Pardon the can of Dr. Pepper, and then it does the same thing under this part of the layout here, George.
Oh, okay.
So It's just a dog bone, a long dog.
Yeah, yeah. That's neat.
And I've that has evolved slowly because I wasn't sure how I was going to do some of the things underneath. I'm not going to try and model it all the way underneath because nobody's going to see it. But I wanted some backdrop for the station down there.
Yeah.
Only thing I could find that really made it look like a subway was getting a bunch of Lego blocks that were white and just making 3 big walls. And it's just a nice backdrop for the trains when they pull in.
That's cool. I see you got some G gauge stuff under the layout.
Yeah, and we can cover that too. As I told your dad earlier, when I got back into model railroading in my mid-30s, we did it by accident. We bought our son a G gauge starter set when we were in New York at a bank convention at FAO Schwartz and shipped it home. And we gave it to him for Christmas, and I think he liked it a little bit, but never really gained a strong interest. And so I just took it and started with a couple of pieces of plywood on a ping pong table downstairs, and that led to something else, and pretty soon I had a layout going in the back room of the basement. And I messed with G gauge only until we moved out of that house in 2000. But I had begun to become very intrigued with all of the new O gauge stuff, with all the sound and the control system. I've used DCC on my G gauge railroads. I've got 2 systems, one for the outside one and one for here. One for the outside one I bought in 1995, and the one here I bought in 2004. So when you get spoiled by command control, you don't want to go anywhere else.
You don't want to go back. That's right.
And prior to that stuff being available in Lionel, I would have never had much interest. Standing at a throttle and working an arm on a transformer anymore didn't get it for me. I don't know why. I mean, it still gets the same effect, but you can do things with the command. You can control so many other features.
Yeah. So I see that goes around your playroom. Do you want to?
It's basically. Let me move around here. It basically is a double loop that runs all the way around the room. Part of it underneath. And it's not at all authentic or anything like that. It's strictly to be able to run it. I've got a lot. I mean, some of these things, that engine back in there, that mallet, can you see it?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, that's 25 years old.
Oh, wow.
That's older than George.
Almost all of the G stuff I have is very old. In fact, here's a really unique one. This is a shade. LGB did this as a joint venture with Astor. Have you ever heard of Astor?
Wow. I've heard his name. I don't know much about it, though.
It's all brass and steel. And the unique thing about it is, in the tender part of it, it has 2 strong electric can motors.
Really?
For the rear tender. And then all of the linkage and gearing that's normally on a Shay is actually driven by those motors. So all of the other wheels are driven.
Oh, wow.
Very powerful. And really runs well.
That's neat.
And that's kind of the tour of that. So, any other questions?
So, getting back to the stream, one question that's kind of out of the left field, but also dovetails into what you've been talking about. Do you remember your first train back when you were 3.5 years old? Do you remember what that was? What was it?
I'm terrible at this because I read these magazines like Classic Toy Trains and O Gauge Railroading. And, I got started, my parents got me the number 2652 set. I have no idea. I know it was a steam engine with a tender and a Lehigh. I mean, I never really gathered what it was. It was a very common steam. And then instead of later on, what the big F. Yeah, the other locomotive we had was a little.
We lost your audio there for a second. I don't know.
Am I back?
Yeah, you're good now. Sorry about that, everybody.
Maybe I was pinching the volume control. I don't know.
No, all right.
But I'm not detail driven about that kind of stuff. I just don't. I don't remember any of it, and I'm not going to try to because it wouldn't make a difference anyway. All I know is that it was all restored and repaired by a good friend of mine in the 80s, and I left it at my parents' house because I didn't have room for it. And then when my parents were gone, my one brother took it up to my other brother's house, and then his wife sold it up to her brother.
Oh.
So
oh,
that's,
brothers, I tell you.
but I'll have to be honest. I wouldn't run them anyway, because unless you could make them command engines, I just wouldn't. I don't have any. I don't have any conventional on my rails here at all. It's all driven through the TIU or through the legacy base.
Yeah, we're getting some feedback from the people on the stream here that everyone's agreeing with you. Once you start doing that, that's you dive into the remote control, the TMCC, the DCS.
You can't go back.
It's hard to make that swing back the other way, huh?
Held forever. And you know, it's interesting, that product is starting to evolve more and more and more as time goes on, because people are going to demand it, and to be able to sell this stuff at any scale, you're going to have to be even better than the last guy. So we're going to be the beneficiaries of it, which is cool.
Yeah. So, in terms of your layout there, anything you feel comfortable running and sharing right now?
Sure. Hold on, let me get it fired up.
Yeah.
By the way, this is the day for colorful island shirts, isn't it, Wally?
Right. I like how great minds think alike on that. We got some comments on the stream about Hawaiian Shirt Saturday.
Pardon me?
I said we got some comments on the stream about that. Hawaiian Shirt Saturday. You and I got the memo.
Exactly. Let me get the subway running, because it'll just run itself. I say that and watch it not do that. But.
And I'll interject a little bit here while he's getting the trains operating. If you can look over his shoulder there, or if you saw over his shoulder there, all of those prints and everything that were behind him were momentums of the different places that he's lived throughout his life.
Or just artwork we had, you know.
So, Tom, I don't know if you can hear me as I'm talking and doing this. I see your transformers and everything there. What kind of how do you got that wired up?
All the track control is through the Z4000, and the ZW just does some of the lights. I just wanted a ZW to have a ZW, and when I mentioned it magically for Christmas one year, it appeared. My wife found one. I just had never had one when I was a kid. The best I ever had was a KW. And then, as you can see, I got a couple of bricks down here that do most of the lights and accessories. On the back side, my LCS control, you know, for Wi-Fi, and the MTH Wi-Fi, which I don't know about you, I've about given up on it. It just doesn't function right. I'm going to focus in on, I don't know if anybody's ever seen one of these little bells work. I think they're just the coolest things in the world.
Oh, wow.
That's neat. That is good.
Yeah.
Oh, wouldn't you know it? It pixelated, right?
Is it pixelating on you?
Yeah, Tom, you're going to have to, when you get another good opportunity with that bell, you're going to have to, the pixelation will come back, but it just was at a bad time for the close-up on. George saw that, his mouth dropped. He loved that.
Well, you know, Lionel came out with a new H10 this year, a coal hauler set that had that.
Yeah, I think most.
Really hard.
Yeah, those newer engines do have a lot of those cool features. That's for sure.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, now we're back good.
Oh wow.
Love it.
And when you want to shut it off, it shuts off. That's what's so cool about it.
Yeah, it is cool. Yeah.
Oh, too much for hands to do here. Am I tracking okay, or is it not focused?
No, you're doing good. You're doing good here. We're not hearing much sound. I don't know if that's by design or not. We're hearing your voice fine, but not real anything.
Let me try something here. It's not real loud chuffer. That's why you're not hearing much.
Yep. So one of the questions that's coming up on the stream is, did Lionel make it gray like that? Why is it gray?
They made it in black and gray.
Okay.
I chose the gray because it was different. Everybody else has black, so
Yeah.
I'm different that way. I don't know if they ever made the real. Well, yeah, there were some Hudsons that were gray.
I think they gray 700.
He did.
A videographer, I'm not much of, so just
You're doing great. You're doing great. I think this is neat. It's neat to see the engine. It's neat to see the layout in action.
I'm sorry.
I said it's neat to see your layout, and it's neat to see things in action. And I want to pump your YouTube channel a little bit. You've got a lot more videos of your layout on your YouTube channel, right?
Well, there's just 3 right now. My wife has suggested a couple of things, and we're working out a couple of scenarios. And one of them is as simple as this engine moving it over to the turntable and getting into the engine house.
Oh,
Just a little thing like that, and then I've got a couple of other ideas. I'm going to use my little shunter to pick up the TMCC crane car and go over and work on the wreck. I don't know if you saw the wreck that I have here. We had a slag car derail and crashed
wow.
it.
Yeah.
We got a welder out there, another guy at the train wreck who's
I didn't-
probably not doing it.
I love it. I didn't catch that one. The one thing I did catch was the 1225 being scrapped.
1225 being scrapped.
1218.
Wasn't there a spot on your layout where the 1220,
The cab of the 1218.
the cab of the 1218 being scrapped, or the 12?
Mm-mm.
No. Okay. I must have remembered wrong on that.
I have a 1225.
Okay. I must have remembered wrong.
By the way, my angel is here now to manage the actual video because I'm shaking.
Well, as you told me before, your angel's your wife, and I would just like to give her a hearty hello and welcome to the live stream, and thanks for helping us out.
Hello.
There we go. That looks great. Now, in your collection, Tom, what would you say is the breakdown in terms of the different manufacturers that you have?
There you go. 360.
Cool layout.
Yeah, it is. Tom, can you hear me?
Are you talking to me again?
Yeah, Tom, I was asking, what's the breakdown, do you think, of the manufacturers that you have in your collection? like Lionel, MTH, so on?
Well, let's see. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 MTA and the rest. It's about even, about 14. Yeah. It's kind of good. Yeah. So that's kind of the break.
That's cool.
I'm sorry.
That's neat.
Yeah. I mean, when I started back in Ogage, it was all MTH.
Yeah.
A friend of mine owned a store in Lake Forest called the Toy Station.
Mm-hmm.
And he was an MT or an LG dealer.
Oh, okay. Uh-oh.
I think that might be the...
FaceTime?
Hold on a second. I think we've got an issue with... we might be back here. Give us a second on the... there we go.
Back? Okay. You back?
Yep, you're back. You're back. I think we're getting a poor connection on our FaceTime link up. And you know what, though? This might be a good time if it is a good connection on the FaceTime link up, this might be a good time to transition up to the upper portion of your house. You've got a really cool layout up there. Would you mind sharing that with us?
Oh, you mean the outdoor T-gauge?
Yeah.
Yeah, we could walk out there and do it.
I'd love that.
I don't have an engine out there, but I could get one out there quickly and put it on if you want me to.
Well, if that would work, that would be great. Otherwise, just a tour. I was telling George about that. I'm sure that a lot of other people that watch the stream would love to see that as well.
I'm going to shut this down so it doesn't run endlessly and I floor later.
That's a really cool camera angle right there with the subway coming in.
I like how you guys use Legos too on the layout as well. Find that very just like, you know,
Generation.
Yeah, that's right.
That's neat how they blend right in, the two different.
Yeah.
So neat. So neat. Is that a Lego high track? Yeah. There's that good old 261. Everybody loves that 261 back there.
Oh yeah.
The industrial area with the shed. And over here, little shunter or switcher. And yeah. I forgot to ask him. I'm gonna ask Tom what the bridge is made out of there.
Metal.
It's metal, huh?
Mhm.
I bet that's a heavy one.
Yeah, goes up and down.
Yeah. Well, that's that triplex back there too.
Yeah.
That's a neat engine. Yeah. And right down there, wait. Before you go, at the base of that sign, see, I told you there's a 1225 being scrapped right there.
That's neat. Didn't even realize that.
Yeah. You're gonna have to show your husband that one so he doesn't think I'm crazy. That was what I was talking about there.
There's that turntable. Oh, I like how the top is
So I have to tell you, as you're going through here, we're getting a lot of comments about the layout and people talking about what they're seeing. And one of the things that people are saying that they like is that it's a neat layout that combines stuff that you folks like, but also what your grandkids like. So there's a little bit of everything for everybody.
That's cool. I'm glad that. And the message was well intended.
So before we go upstairs, I have to point out the one spot where there's the 1225 being scrapped.
Oh, I see. What I remember. Okay, you know how that happened? That was incredible. The engine fell on the floor.
Really?
I had just gotten it, so I had to order the parts. As you can see, there's a little crack there.
Uh-huh.
So I thought, well, what the heck? Let's just let's make it a, you know.
Let's go down that now.
Yeah, here I can. My wife is saying I should make the bascule operate, so we'll do that.
Oh.
Too.
Yeah, those bridges like that fascinate me. That's fantastic.
You know, there's about 6 of those in the Chicago area, and most of them operate every day.
Yeah.
At least operate to the extent that trains go across them. They may not always raise up all the time.
That's neat.
This was made by a gentleman in Florida who created this product as a retirement project. I can't imagine how insane he must have been, because that's the big deal.
Right.
To get, and you know how you balance it? He said, when you get this and you're starting to set it up, the best way to counterbalance it is to buy one bag of aquarium gravel, put it in the box, at the counterweight,
really?
and that's exactly enough to make it balance.
No kidding. That's great.
Yep. It's a bit of a chore to get it set up when you first make it. But, okay, we're heading outside now. To the porch.
J94 wants to know if the 1225 can teleport because there's a scrapped part and there's one in the engine shed.
What does he want to know?
No, I'm just commenting that there was J94 says, hey, wait, what? Can the 1225 teleport? I just saw a Berkshire with the same number in the shed. Just talking about the top being scrapped.
As you know, I dragged on this sucker too much. There we go.
Graham said it does Steve job.
Oh, yeah, that's it.
I dragged on this too soon, guys.
No problem. That's just the law of having trains, Operates great until somebody says that until you start showing somebody and says that it operates smoothly.
There's something on the track. Oh, I see.
That's a cool layout.
Isn't it? Right out there on his porch.
Yeah.
Oh. Wasn't it to do with the track? It was to do with the track crew leaving a piece of stuff on the rails.
Tim knows everything.
What?
You're in G gauge. I said Tim knows everything.
I know.
There we go. That's so neat.
That's that brass one he's talking about.
Oh yeah, it is. Look at that coming up the.
Oh yeah, the bridge or the incline. That's cool. I like that about that layout.
Right.
This stuff.
I wonder why we're not getting any audio on that.
Might be the connection.
Yeah, I think it's the how far the camera is away from the what's making the sound. Yeah. So it's just a function of like the phone and being. So when it gets closer, you can hear it. Isn't
I
that
hope
neat?
anybody dizzy by doing this angle.
Well, it's neat how you've got that all graded out and going up and down and over on top of itself.
Well, and it's a pretty steep grade too. It's about 6%. But I went to the Cass Railroad one time. We both did about 20 years ago, and they've got that Western Maryland Shay there.
Yep.
And we were going up on the switchbacks at 13 or 14% grade with coaches behind it. I mean, that's an enormous grade for a railroad. That is for a car.
Right.
So it looks like this,
So,
right?
and it just did it like it was fly fishing. I mean, so okay, we're going up this hill now.
Yeah. That's a neat, not only a neat train layout setup you've got there. That it's a neat engine. So how do you have the tracks down on your deck? Is it just laying on there? Or do you have them nailed down or bolted down?
There's just a couple of screws to hold something. Off the station here. Oh, goodness. See, these engines are not standard LGV style. This is a 1 to 20.3 scale. It's bigger than even a regular LGV engine. Perfect 3-foot gauge, narrow gauge.
Oop, gone pixelated. Stay with us, everybody. Sorry about the pixelization. It'll come back.
That could be because we're outside away from our Wi-Fi a little bit.
Okay.
We're going to go back inside so you don't have to fight.
Okay.
Plus, it's getting to be 5 o'clock. I'm sure I'm boring everybody by this.
Well, I think that George said that he wants to stay by your place for dinner. What you having?
Well, he's going to have to travel about 400 miles.
George is a cross-country runner. He can get there in no time.
Yeah, we're having. Well, you could get in a plane and get here in about an hour, but we're having shrimp scampi. So
Oh, hey, that sounds good. That's
it's not bad.
that's worth it.
Yeah. Well, the food is good, but the lake is even better. So that's
Yeah. So out there in Missouri, huh? You so
Lake Ozark.
Lake of the Ozark, and you're from Chicago here, and then moved down there as a retirement home, huh?
Well, yeah, we sold our business and decided to just get away. We had a daughter, as I told you, that passed away in January of 16 from a brain tumor, and she it just kind of shook us all up, and it took us a while to kind of get over that. And we had a home down here, and we decided we were gonna sell both homes because we weren't sure we liked either of them as a retirement thing. We wanted to live around people, and where we lived down here, from Sunday night through Friday night, it was like being in a museum. There was you, and then all these nice houses and nobody in it.
Yeah.
So we put them both on the market, thinking it would take a year to sell one and 6 months to sell the other. And 3 days after we put the home in Ottawa on the market, we sold it, and 4 days later we sold another one.
No kidding.
It's like,
There
okay.
you go.
So we got what we needed, and then we made the deal to have this built, but we had to live somewhere temporarily for about 6 months, and it helped us a lot to get away. But as I mentioned to you earlier, I had a little health issue last year, and we're getting commercials from our kids about. So I don't know what will happen there. Eventually, you can't be away forever, but it's been fun for a few years. It really has, and for maybe some few more. I mean, I'm not saying we're.
Well, you're gonna have to find somebody who's a train enthusiast with that house there, and market the house with the train. Actually, you can tell them I'm selling a train layout with a house around it.
Well, I'm not giving up my dreams. Some of my money. You always got to have a place to put something,
Right.
So, not just yet. It's this has made us feel younger living where we're living.
Sure.
And not with this whole lockdown. I mean, I will say that I don't think the state of Missouri and its government took this episode very seriously, and now they're starting to pay the price for it.
Okay.
Illinois took it very seriously, and it's been a very, very big inconvenience for a lot of people in certain areas to put up with it. It's tough to become a hermit when you're not used to being one.
You're right here. This guy right here, he's having a tough time with it.
I mean, you can choose that, or you can choose to get sick, and I'd rather choose to be healthy and go a little nuts.
Sure. It's a tough balance, but I can tell you the one thing: it's probably done great for all of these model railroads that we've got, huh?
Well, I've talked to 2 different people who sell trains, and they're going nuts selling stuff.
All of
I'm
us.
sure other hobbies. I'm sure other hobbies. People who are scrapbookers and all of these different people that do things. I think have probably spent. They've concentrated what they're spending on the thing that they like to do, not what they.
Right. And Trains and Things here, our resident signal guy says, looks like your truck needs some signals. Speaking of that.
Could you send me his email address so I can?
Absolutely.
Yeah, those little door signals that you showed are.
Yeah, they're pretty sharp, huh?
Yeah.
Well,
But this is the thing that I enjoy doing the most. I love to fish also, and we do it, but you can't do it all year long, even here. And it's good to have something in the house to do. It just when you're shut in the winter, the winters go fast for me. A lot of people they don't.
Sure.
Feelings. So, thank you for visiting my.
Yeah, well, hey, it's been a great pleasure. We've been getting lots and lots of compliments on the stream. I wish I could, as we're talking, go through it and tell you them all as they come.
That's like being a speed reader.
So, but I know that they're there. Know that everybody loves your layout, loves the tour, and really appreciates that. And thank you.
And I'll tell you something. I had put videos on YouTube over the past couple of years. I put 3 or 4 on. Never had anybody look at them. When I hashtagged the one that you used in the video, all of a sudden I got a couple of people to react, and now I've got 15 or 18 subscribers, and I got people commenting all the time, when are you going to do the next one? So it's the infectiousness of the collective spirit really.
Well, cool. That's great, and I'm going to give you guys a plug here too, or your channel plug here. Everybody that's watching, please go check out Thomas's
Illinois and Ozark Railroad.
And I've got the link down in the description below, so check that one out.
Thank you. I'm not looking. It's just fun to do something and have people say, "Hey, that's pretty cool."
Right, exactly.
Complete babbling fool. You're just partially there.
Exactly. And if you do come back, Trains and Things, post it up, and I'll email that to you too.
Okay.
Post it up his email address for you if you're looking for that.
That's super.
So.
Thank you.
Well, hey, again, thank you so much. This has been such a great time, hasn't it, George?
Cool. Yeah, I love the layout, man.
And it's such an honor to share it with you.
It's hopefully going to just get better and better as I'm able to detail more things.
Well, cool. You're going to have to pencil us in for another visit in 6 months, all right?
Over the nervousness of doing it, it'll be a lot easier to do the next time around.
It was awesome. So much fun sharing that with you.
You have a good one.
Okay, you too, Tom.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Well, that was cool.
Yeah, wasn't that neat, George?
Dude, yeah, that was so fun. His layout was so cool, just like everything.
See so many different things that were like, oh yeah, we need to do that with our layout.
Yeah, and just like the detail on it was like
the subway.
Wow, yeah, like everything about it is just like so like.
And did you see that view of his porch with Lake of the Ozarks?
Oh yeah.
So could you imagine like kicking back? Lake of the Ozarks.
Retirement,
Lake of the Ozarks, playing with
trains,
you. Yeah.
Dude, that's just like
good stuff, huh?
Next thing is you gotta get like a train layout, like you put like the fish on the trains after you catch them.
You're combining all of your hobbies, right?
Yeah, and then just have it. Like,
you can have. Hey, I got it even better, George. I want to up you on that one.
What?
How about if you have a train layout that goes all the way down to the shore?
And then you just like put the fish, put it on there, and then just like
command control it back up, right?
Just to get like filleted.
That's good stuff. Well, it sounds like we're getting a little slappy here, huh?
Yeah, gotta go eat.
Gotta go eat. Well, hey, everybody, thanks for joining us today. It's been a fun time.
Yeah, it was a really fun time. We enjoyed
seeing Tom's layout. That was good stuff. Neat to share that with everybody, and we thank you again. And everybody, go check out his YouTube channel. It's in the description below. That's going to be he's got a lot of neat content there. And again, it's cool that this little corner of our hobby is all together and communicating and doing stuff with each other.
Yeah. Don't forget, tomorrow is Iron Fox 7.
Tomorrow we're going to have Iron Fox 7. That's at 5:30. Again, 5:30 tomorrow.
Yes, correct.
5:30 tomorrow. We're gonna have it. We'll announce a schedule, but we're probably going to be doing just 2 days a week starting tomorrow on Sundays for sure, and then another day during the week.
Yes, right.
So, yeah. Well, hey, George, we'll
See you around the roundhouse.
don't let the caboose hit you on the way out. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in today. Good times. Stay safe, everybody.
See ya.